again from Heidelberg. On 14-15 May 2025, this historic city in Germany will be the venue of the second meeting of Optica's Global Advanced Manufacturing Alliance. But why is an alliance needed, and why now? You may know that over 150 leaders and influencers met in Neuchâtel in June 2024 to discuss this. Traditionally, well-established production methods like nanoimprint, direct laser writing, or selective laser etching have dominated the market. But now, new products with micro-optics and meta-surfaces are emerging as options for making smaller, smarter devices faster and cheaper than ever before. But scaling these technologies into a profitable business means we need to remove some roadblocks, like metrology. If you cannot measure it, you cannot make it. What's more, if you cannot measure it accurately, no one will buy it. And this comes when major end users in automotive are in decline. In Neuchâtel, we confirmed that competing companies need agreed standards in order to grow the sector in several markets. That starts by agreeing amongst micro-optics manufacturers as well as understanding the changing needs of end users. Sounds simple, but I can assure you it is not. It starts with agreeing on what we need to do together amongst trusted global partners. So the alliance is the first step in deciding what really needs to be done to streamline the supply chain and who will take action. The conversation continues online on January 14th. And then on May 14-15, we meet here, face-to-face, for the second alliance meeting. Heidelberg Instruments has 40 years of experience in microfabrication. With an installed base of over 1,400 systems, they are an excellent host for this important Optica Summit. And the city of Heidelberg is an inspiring place to discuss and build what the market needs next. If your company has reasons to get involved, now would be a good time to reach out to us. We are particularly looking for companies who have new ways, new technologies, new processes for manufacturing complex micro-optic systems. Join the Global Advanced Manufacturing Alliance and come to the second General Assembly meeting here in Heidelberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally live. I would like to say today, first of all, I would like to say to everyone, Happy New Year. Happy New Year 2025. It is the first online industry meeting of 2025. Because of your request and your amazing feedback last year, we doubled the amount of online industry meetings in 2025. We go one every 2 weeks. So from one per month last year to one every 2 weeks, and that's because you ask. We do as much as we can, as much as we humanly can, because we cannot keep losing weight for you, but we will. Thank you very much for great 2024, and let's head for a fantastic 2025. And there is no better way to do that than with the most important initiative of Optica industry in 2025, and that is this Global Advanced Manufacturing Alliance. Before I give the floor to Optica, before I give the floor to Olga, I would like to first of all stress the importance of working together. And that's what we want to do here. We want to find ways, find reasons of working together. This online industry meeting is an example of the kind of collaboration that we expect to have within the Optica corporate members. What can you do for the others? What can the others do for you? On this Optica online industry meeting on Global Advanced Manufacturing, we're going to first of all know the committee, the Gamma Committee, Global Advanced Manufacturing Alliance Committee, know their vision, but most important, know the answer to the Optica question, because it's all about collaboration. So what can you do for others? What others can do for you? What can we do for GAT, for Delo, for IDEX Optical Instruments, for IMT, or for Tematis? And what can they do for us? Let's start collaboration on the Global Advanced Manufacturing Alliance. As I said in the industry video, the most important thing that we need to solve is that the supply chain of optics is very, very, very complicated. We put together this slide last year for the event in Neuchâtel, and we did realize, we learned a lot, we did realize that it's almost impossible to align all the different companies that need to take part to design, manufacture, and measure an optical instrument. How can we streamline that? Let's find ways of doing that. Before I give the floor to the committee, I would like to say that this is part of the Optica Corporate Membership Program. We are here to find value for our members. We provide you networking reports, lots of very cool events like those ones that you saw in Heidelberg. I can't wait to go to Heidelberg. Discounts to exhibit and promote, and the most important thing, connections. If you want to get in touch with any of the participants at any of our events, all you have to do is to send an email to us and we'll make the introduction. I would also like to say that we have now the largest industry library of market reports of any other association. All you have to do is to go to optica.org/market reports or scan this QR code and you will have access to this large database of market reports for all our members. And without having said that, I would like to also say that we are live in YouTube. So hello, YouTubers of the world. You didn't get into the Zoom channel, that doesn't matter. If you have any questions, you have any comment, please write so in the YouTube chat and I will read it into the room so the team here, the participants in the Zoom room can discuss it. And of course, it's also valid with the people, for the people with me here in the Zoom room. We are going to have now introductions, discussions, small presentations, but if you have any question, any comment, anything that you want to say, put it so in the chat and I will make sure that you voice your opinion, your question, or your comment. And with that, are you ready, Olga? With that, let's start the first online industry meeting on the Global Advanced Manufacturing Alliance. Dr. Olga Ras, the floor and the attention of the photonic and optics supply chain is yours.
Thank you, Jose. Well, I will also start with extending everyone, first of all, first and foremost, Happy New Year. I'm wishing you all for the continued success to your businesses and to you, all of you personally, health. And I believe because without the health, none of this is important and all our dreams and wishes are simply multiplied by 0. So let's start this year with being, first of all, healthy and also hope for this year will be prosperous for all of us. And as Jose mentioned, this meeting is very special because this initiative from Optics, it actually took off much longer than just 2024. Those of you who were at the original meeting at the EVG might remember that already there was the first time an idea that popped up in the air that we all should actually talk more to one another, collaborate closer, share the ideas in order for all of us actually to benefit as the ecosystem from these collaborations. The idea started there, and I'm really happy that over this, let's say, year, we managed to do some very significant steps forward with the help of our committee and with which the steps that we will present also a little bit later. But first and foremost, what stands behind this idea? We want to join the large ecosystem behind advanced manufacture, which includes. It's a very inclusive term. We're looking to work together with the partners from micro and nano optics, with the partners from macro optics, advanced materials, also metrology methods, end users, system integrators, and everyone who believes that this initiative might be something for them. And in order to represent all of you fully, it was clear to us that it cannot be a one-man show, or cannot be Jose, cannot be I. It should be actually you. And so the first step for us became to actually create a committee that will represent to some extent all of you in terms of the position in the supply chain, in terms of the position from the geographical location, from the size, and also the let's say the turnover of your enterprises, of your entities. And thus, we created and we invited several of the very prominent industry players into the committee to actually steer us, guide us, to see what we can do for all of you, because they represent, to some extent, each and every one of you. And the committee is now 5 people. And this meeting is planned actually to introduce officially all the committee members with a little bit of their background, personal and also professional, but most importantly, what they see as what is the importance for this alliance, why is it important, and why now. So stay tuned for next 90 minutes. We're going to speak with our committee members. Prepare your questions. Prepare your tricky questions. There's no question that should not be asked. Challenge us, because this initiative is something that, first of all, we're doing not for Jose or not for myself, but what we do for you. And with this, I would actually like to start and introduce the first member of the committee, who is Simon Schwinger, the CEO from JAT, Jena Antriebtechnica in Jena.
Good.
Exactly, the CEO. And Simon is also on the Optical Corporate Engagement Corporate Council, meaning that this is also the part why it's Optica initiative. Simon is also representative of the Optica Council, is here to see that the purposes and the actions of the alliance align with the Optica policies. Simon, the floor attention of everyone is yours. Please introduce yourself, GAT, and what's your vision and goal for this alliance.
Thank you, Olga. It's not too much about me, so a happy new year to you, all of you. Be healthy, be successful this year. Just a few words about myself. I think the key takeaway from this slide is I've seen smaller companies like JAT, I'm with currently, Jenoptik, and also larger corporations like Jabil from the inside. So I believe I understand some of the manufacturing challenges from low volume all the way up to high volume, primarily in the deep tech and high tech sector. The company I'm currently with is developing and manufacturing precision motion and positioning technologies for a variety of industries. Of course, optics, photonics, semiconductor is one part of it and one important part of it. We do standard components all the way to custom solutions. So one-stop shop, and we do this locally in Germany with around about 160 people, 100,000 square feet of engineering and manufacturing floor. We do have clean rooms available. So I think well set up for the industry. What I intend contributing to this organization is to enable a strong and resilient business network. Business partnerships, it's something that you can read everywhere, but I tend to say there's not enough cooperation still going on. I see some protectionism, sometimes it makes sense, but I think cooperating is key to being successful, to help scale products. I have been in touch with a multitude of small startup companies, really magnificent companies from a technology perspective. Once they approach the high scale manufacturing companies with the, let's say, idea that the product is 80% finished and 20% to go, it's usually the other way around. It's like 20% is done and there's another 80% to go to really make it mass manufacturable. So there's a lot of work to be done in early stage, and the importance of advanced manufacturing, I think, is not represented well at the moment. Is really focused on the engineering portion, which is important, but having a product to be manufactured in quality, in time, in specification, in cost is another challenge. And I want to help promote, spread the word, and contribute to this organization. Thanks for Optica for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to answering questions today and to shape this in the next month and years to come.
Simon, maybe a little bit from the perspective of the JAT, you're somehow in the middle, or let's say really in the middle of the ecosystem, because you are more or less of the subsystem or also subsystem provider enabler. And there will be quite a few companies that are in similar position, which are looking at us today or will watch for later the record, which will ask themselves, what is there in this alliance for me? So for your perspective, as being in the middle of the supply chain, able to work, but being really not the one who is in the end of the supply chain and not in the beginning, really in the middle, what do you believe it brings to companies like JAT?
It's really to understand the position you are in, and you very well described it. So there's the end user or the company we are selling to that have maybe the ask to reduce form factor to make manufacturing things smaller. but don't want to sacrifice in manufacturing speed. So there's a challenge. But also we as a company need to, and we do understand the needs from the component manufacturers, what they have assembled on our machines. So combining those two worlds with the own challenges that we have, we look into new materials, we look into new ways of moving and positioning inside of machines. There's a challenge itself. So it's like a threefold challenge you have here, and you have to be aware how to navigate this successfully.
Simon, I also know that you have an extensive experience contributing to the different type of the alliances and boards, and also over supervising actually other photonics and industry activities. Can you say a couple of words about this? Because it's also part of the expertise which is important for the committee.
That's true. So being in Germany, being a German, I also are part of the board of Spectaris, which is here local to Germany, more on the regulatory affairs side of things for not only photonics, but photonics where I'm exposed to. I used to do other works, but it's not possible. So last year, Jose and I, we spoke, and contributing to Optica has been a huge opportunity, which I've taken on, like, I don't know, mid of last year or end of last year, with one highlight already in Malaga with this event there. So really using the platform that Optica already has today, but increasing this platform and, let's say, helping the corporates getting engaged in this cooperation is something that excites me. And yeah, that's basically my ambition, my motivation.
Then, Jose,
Yes, let's get the people involved. So one of the things, Simon, that we are seeing in the room today is lots of micro-optics manufacturers. One of them is the company Fabulence. I think I have with me here today one of the key people at Fabulence, Jax. Thank you very much for joining. Jax, you're a micro-optics manufacturer who is define the rules of accuracy when it comes to manufacturing of micro-optics. What do you do, and what would you expect from the Alliance or this committee to do to support your business?
So thanks for the introduction, Jose. So with Fabulence and also with MCD, which is our sister company, we produce and develop aspherical polymer lenses which are applied in compact digital camera modules for all kinds of different applications, ranging from disposable endoscopy over automotive up to, in the end, smartphone camera modules. And besides the actual UV replication, which is our proprietary technology and yields to small form errors, well-centered lenses, obviously there are many other crafts which are needed, from mastering over anti-reflective coatings up to camera module integration, where we look for partners and collaborations in order to provide the best lenses for all these applications.
One of the key challenges Fabulence mentioned there is the coatings, and how we're gonna try to make sure that we can not only standardize, but also to understand the different types of materials, the different kind of coatings. Today, as Fabulence, which kind of coatings, suppliers, partners are you looking for to collaborate with?
So on the one side, obviously the typical dielectric coating manufacturers. The technology or the requirements there are not much different from what you do for injection molded lenses. So it's small aspherical components which go into trays, for instance, that then need to be coated. The alternative is nanostructured. We are interested in to basically make multi structures on the lenses, so that either the visual spectrum can be anti-reflected coated quite well, or also the thermal stability of the coating is increased.
Jax, I think many people are going to contact you if you are in the room or in YouTube, and you can make coatings based on nanostructures or multi-coatings, multi-layers on coatings. You have to contact Jax or contact Olga. We'll make sure that we'll keep you in touch. Jax, hold on there. We're going to get back to you later. But there is more people. There is more people that I want to say hello. Simon, more people I want to say hello. All the way from beautiful Barcelona, the second most beautiful city in the world. The first one is, of course, everybody else's. I want to go to Barbara Boades. Barbara, Meet Optics. You have made an impact on connecting the supply chain of optics and actually providing customized solutions to clients and demand optical elements, instruments, all the way to laser systems. What would you expect from an alliance like this to support your business?
Exactly. So it resonates a lot to us. You mentioned it's chaos, all the supply chain, all the capabilities of all the companies. So we made a search engine not only for products but also for technical capabilities of the companies. And it's super cool. We have at the moment 30 companies, which of course there are many, many more. But 30 companies that at the moment, 30,000 engineers and researchers every month can search, can analyze, can detect each of the specs or each of the capabilities and navigate through this to understand which of the companies could provide them with a solution. It's fairly different from a conference, because a conference you need to go, you need to talk to each of the booths, you need to have personal commitment. It is online, so it's an engineer in their lab looking and understanding what's going on in the industry. So I would encourage from the Alliance to have this up to date in one place that people can go online, can check, can discover by themselves. And we know engineers are very smart people that they like to discover things by themselves. So yeah, so this would be my go-to for the Alliance, to have a centralized place where information is there.
Barbara, of course, I'm not going to deny right now that you are a really close friend of mine. Barbara, what could you ask these people to do for you? Could you share with us one challenge that you would like to solve with the people in the room? 100 YouTube and Zoom, 110 people in the room right now.
So the challenge I have is the same as engineers have. Like, what is the thing that you guys do that makes you special? And put that on a place, hopefully Meet Optics, where people can search and navigate through that. So that's the challenge. Like, like tell the world this thing that you are capable to do, that it's amazing for you, and say it in an updated way in online, that everyone can access to it.
Thank you very much. Barbara, stay there. We'll get back to you. Before I give the floor back to Olga, there is somebody else I want to say hello to. I have to. Henrik Madsen from SPA, all the way from beautiful Denmark. Henrik, for many, many years, you have been, you and me are both very young first, but for many years you have made an impact on the manufacturing of optical micro instruments, and now you have a company, you're the CEO and founder of SPIO. What would you expect from an alliance like this? And also tell us a few words for the miniaturization of multi-layer optics that SPIO wants to do.
Yeah, I'm spun out from traditional bulk optics in the 90s. Now we had transferred to wafer-level approach of production on wafer-level. So we're going from a traditional bulk optics manufacturing system to a miniaturized optical production on a wafer level. Mean that we can see a transition in the needs from the industry. Also, we're pushing from production people here to bring down the size of the optical engines or instruments or devices. But also there's a problem to scale up the amount of production if you stay on the traditional way to do it. So that was the motivation for almost 20 years ago to motivate this transition. So I've been going through a transition myself in my approach as well. So what we do today, we try to minimize or erase the frame in the instrument. So we are making wafers with macro optics, and the wafer itself is the frame. So we can pack we can produce much more packed in on wafer. So we can make more instruments on the same amount of space that if you just produce that on component level. So That's what we are doing, and our expectation here is to have a platform to find both customers, but also suppliers of active components, and also maybe the PIC industry, because we can see the PIC industry might need some beam delivery systems, or to gather the light, to gather the signal to transfer it to the PICs. So we see as a part of the total ecosystem here, but also really the first thing it would be to find clients that has a need to make smaller engines, smaller devices that cannot be done by traditional frames with bulk optics. That's our sweet spot.
I must say that for many years, from every company that you have been in the past, I have been always been a huge supporter, and SPIO is a jewel. Olga, what a way of starting the meeting. For the people in the room, if you have solutions for nanostructure-based coatings, you have to contact Fabulence. If you provide engineering services, you can contact Meet Optics. And you are manufacturing photonic integrated circuits, and you need some kind of beam guiding or steering, you contact Henrik Madsen from SPIO. And if you want to know everyone else, you have to contact Dr. Olga Ras. Olga, what's next?
I actually am curious now to come back to Simon and ask him, as the member of the committee, a very vital question. So Simon, you know already there's 3 contributors. They're representing very different niches or very different technologies. Or we have marketplace, we have stacked integrated optics, we have injection molded optics without the wafer. What do you think? You know, it's always a very tricky question for Alliance, which wants to be very efficient and join as many players as possible. Also, with the theme as advanced manufacturing, who do you believe is in, who is out?
Not sure if I entirely got the question. So what I believe is I don't have all answers yet. So I'm curious to listen in and to understand the challenges. What I sense right now out there is that there's a desire and wish to use like equipment that has already been used for new fabrication methods to make it available for other products. I can follow that thought, but I don't think it will be the only promising way forward. There will be new machine designs and new manufacturing methods required that I don't know yet. And it's key for us to also, let's say, pull the strings together here and see if every, especially each small company goes that path, invests in finding that technology, it will be too much of a burden for one company, right? How can we let's say distribute that with the still the focus of preventing each and everyone's IP on what is at the end coming out of it. So that it's a sensible field to navigate. That's how I said at the beginning. And that's how I believe we can contribute if we find a way. I don't know yet if that will be possible. There is a lot of fragmentation out there throughout the years that I've been in the industry, but that doesn't discourage me to at least look into it and see if we can find a way forward.
Then I will come back to you later at the end of the meeting. And meanwhile, I would like to call to the floor the next committee member, which is Oliver Matisik, the project manager from Dello. And Dello represents another layer in the entire ecosystem and supply chain, because Dello is the world famous provider of functional materials. I always say it more general. They always say about themselves adhesives. I always say, no, you're much better and much broader than this. Functional materials. Oliver, so please, the floor and attention of everyone is yours. Please introduce yourself. What is Dello famous for, or what are your new developments, and also what you, from your position, search in this alliance.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Olga, for the introduction, and thanks for having me in this very promising alliance. For everyone who doesn't know me yet, my name is Oliver Matisek. I'm with Dello, and I'm a product manager for our group that is called Optics and Photonics, and I'm also working on HDD applications, which are not so much related to this. But when you see the topics that I'm working on, you will see the connection. So I'm responsible for developing the product portfolio by also developing new products. And my focus optical applications are automotive microlens arrays and also PICs and transceivers. And PICs and transceivers are very much related to data storage, so this all goes hand in hand. And my experience is that I studied mechatronics engineering, started at Delo in roughly 4 years ago, had a short delegation to the US, experiencing a lot in the market and the developments over there in the Bay Area. And now I'm back to Delo in our headquarters in Windach, which is close to Munich. You can see it from the skies here. And as Olga mentioned, Delo is a provider of adhesives and functional materials. Yeah, the size is roughly 1,000 employees, 230 million in revenues. But more importantly for us is that we are investing a lot in R&D, and we want to understand a lot of different technologies. And let me just give you one example. When talking about AR glasses, you can see a lot of applications where we are involved. So the adhesives and the functional polymers are all highlighted in magenta here. And our optics and photonics group deals a lot with products for waveguides, for different sensors that can be manufactured on a wafer level, but also adhesives for camera modules, batteries, and speakers and projectors. So you can tell that there's a lot inside of such an example product, but also in a lot of other optical products. And our mission of our group, Delo internally, is to have the latest optical measurement equipment, to know the manufacturing processes, to understand the applications, and with our knowledge in chemical formulation, have a suitable product portfolio for adhesives and functional materials for everyone in the market. And since we are only a chemical company, we don't know all the other steps in that detail as you know them. So our goal or our mission for the Optica Advanced Manufacturing Alliance is to bring the people together. So to give all relevant players in this supply chain the opportunity to present the expertise and the products, and then in the end, have a good cooperation between all of us, and then show the cooperation between us towards some customers, and in the best case, start new projects. So that would be my dream, to have that online updated and regularly updated overview so that everyone understands how we work together and therefore use those meetings to find the topics.
Thank you, Oliver. So also the same questions for the Simon. You know, from your position as the Delo, your medium-sized company in Germany, really at the start of the supply chain, what would be your takeaways from this alliance, and what you would like really to alliance to enable for you?
So Delo dives pretty deep in all the different technologies, and in order to understand them, we need partners. So we don't only talk to customers, we also talk to partners, to machine suppliers, to different vendors, because our products have to be used in different processes. And therefore, my goal would be here clearly to network with everyone and to exchange new R&D ideas, and to also have some collaborative R&D approaches where we develop processes together, when we can bring in our chemical knowledge, introduce new chemical perspectives in, for example, a machine from you, in a measurement equipment or whatsoever. There's plenty of examples that we already successfully have been working on.
If you look at the entire supply chain and you know at the different levels, whom would you like to see represented? Starting from the I'll start from the design solutions, and then we start to spread on all the levels. Whom you would like to see in this alliance?
So the companies that I talk to the most are the machine suppliers, because they have the clearest requirements towards our materials, because they need some certain viscosity, some certain flow behavior, some certain cartridges whatsoever. And this is the closest collaborations that I see from our perspective. But in the end, also, for example, optical designers have to have all the information about our optical materials in order to make a proper design. So this is a very important group to me to have them here. But also, like the overall integrators, the companies assembling all the different components into a final product. Those people are very important for us to talk to understand what are their overall requirements towards the module. So from my perspective, the goal of the whole alliance should be to showcase all of the different players in all different sectors. And of course, we talk to some more than to others, but all of them are needed.
Thank you, Oliver. Jose, do we have questions?
You know what? I'm not even drinking coffee today. I'm this excited. I love this. This is the kind of thing that gives us energy. We just heard that that Henrik Madsen wanted to work with a big company that are looking for guides, for light guiding, for beam steering. Why don't we go to a French beautiful company in the south of Paris and we ask Jean-Luc about Icon Photonics, what they do, and how do they expect an alliance like this one to support their business? Jean-Luc, bonjour.
Hi, Jose. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, actually, Icon Photonics is a young startup, but actually already soon 7 years old company. So it's a path that we've done actually toward the fiber to the chip integration, bringing the light to the chip. That's what we are doing in wafer level. So providing the wave guiding of the light, and also a mod field diameter matching to the peak detectors and lasers. We have actually a first main application, which is quantum computers, because there you need really not to lose any photons, but you also need to integrate a large number of detectors on a smaller footprint if you want to go to the million qubit, and that's where we are working at first. But definitely, it's also a span to the field of peaks for datacom, telecom, the field of VCSELs and photodiodes for hyperscale datacom and NI for that. So the idea is really to be compact. We have the smallest fiber array unit with spot size converters, efficient. You need to save light, to save photons, and also you need to be scalable. So the wafer level, the manufacturing is a key topic. And to answer what the alliance is interesting for us, actually, definitely is to find an ecosystem to discuss with partners and potential clients. Sure, but there is also a need, and we know that, to go for standards in a way, or at least to have common rules, because standards is maybe a big word, a kind of myth maybe at this stage, but at least sharing common rules and trying to converge and to collaborate with different technologies that will be very needed.
Jean-Luc, we are all very impressed with the packaging solutions and packaging services that you provide today for the PIC industry. Would you share with us one challenge today that I can actually put in my list of things that other people can do for you?
Yeah, one challenge. Well, actually, it could be nice that what we are doing for the PIC assembly and getting more and more precise, continue on the fiber side, because that's a full supply chain. So if the fiber can be more precise even, then we can go also lowering the PIC insertion loss. And for example,
measure precisions in micrometers. How precise?
Okay. How precise? Actually, you know, your fiber is, you have some core concentricity, you have all these parameters, and actually the fiber typically is 1.5 micron precision when you take all of this. The goal of our taper is really to make it more precise again, and like a funnel, and to go to your peak and where you need something less than 0.5 micron. So if the fiber goes to lower precision, then your peak can be even more precise, and so on.
I see a few people smiling. We're going to be able to reach out to you. If anybody can place a fiber with a precision of less than half a micron, You have to contact today Ecophotonics. Jean-Luc is looking forward to talking to you. Let's continue talking to people, Olga, if that's okay, because I want to go to the capital of optics in Europe or the world. I want to go to Jena to meet Mark Dining from Jenoptic. Mark, thank you so much for everything you're doing for Optica in the last 2 years. You have been a rock star for us. Can you tell us a bit what you expect from this alliance and how can they support your business?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me and asking me this question. So it kind of goes back to what happened at PEC. So how can we collectively work together to come up with valuable solutions to work against copper? How can we promote optics and photonics as a viable solution that brings benefit to the marketplace? So we work together as a whole to benefit the industry, and then we all win together.
We just saw new developments from Jenoptic in different lines, lots of recent press releases. Is there any particular challenge, anything that the others could do for you?
Well, I'll say what we offer. So specifically for this alliance, we offer a wafer-level micro-optics process. So there's a lot of flexibility on the optical design. There's a lot of flexibility on the materials. So how to couple light into the fiber or collimate light out of the fiber. So in that context, you know, understanding from the team and the group, you know, where is that necessary? Where is that required?
Thank you very much, Mark. We're going to come back to you. So stay here with us. Olga, one more, please, and then I'll let you continue introducing the committee. A few years ago, Olga, a person in the room and me used to work together in a different company, and now she has a skyrocketing career. She is today the Chief Operating Officer of the fabulous pilot line, and this alliance will not be successful if it's not inclusive. Jessica, thank you very much for being here with us. I love you. Thank you for being in the room. Tell us how you think this alliance can support the fabulous pilot line.
Well, I mean, I think we can support each other, right? So, I mean, we are a non-profit organization, and we are here to connect, to promote advanced micro-optics. I mean, a lot of customers, potential customers out there don't even know that there's a really nice and good viable solution in micro-optics. So, so we are here to promote the technology in general, and then to connect also these customers to the supply chain. So we take a very active role, and yeah, I think also the members of Optica should be well represented there. So I mean, I see already many companies that you know I know and I'm talking to, but also some that I'm not so familiar with. So you know, I would love to use the Optica network to you know learn even more about suppliers and the supply chain that I maybe am not so familiar with yet. Especially because, I mean, we were funded from a European project, but this one is over. So that means that we are now, from this year on, ready to incorporate new members. And I think what the nice thing that we do is if we talk about collaboration, right, is that we offer one NDA among the members and also to the customer, which means we can have an open discussion among the members and among the value chain to make sure that we supply the customer with the right solution. So I think this is a really good approach, an approach that has been very valued by customers over the years, and that I envision continuing and expanding on. I mean, the project was focused on UV imprint replication, but now we are ready to incorporate any other technology. So as Olga mentions already, there are many out there: injection molding, hot embossing, 3D printing. So I'm really excited to see, you know, this network grow, and would love to talk with all of you to see how we can work together and, you know, grow together. I think
Jessica,
that's
congratulations on the great career. I would like to say that in the initial pilot line, we had roll-to-roll, roll-to-sheet, we had nanoimprint lithography, and we had two-photon polymerization. You talked to many end users that could actually use that technology together with the packaging and metrology next to it to provide a system. What are the key challenges, or the key challenge, one challenge that you think we should address all together, because today there is a gap in that supply chain?
Well, I mean, we know origination can be a bottleneck. I mean, with the delivery times, and I think, I mean, one of the challenges I see from all of the stakeholders is that sometimes it's really hard to find the right partners, right? So for the customer, they don't really understand the differences between all these technologies, and the supply chain is very scattered. So this is why we are serving here as an access point to connect them to the right ones. And it's really important then, of course, to look at all the specifications and understand what technology fits best. But I think, partnership and collaboration is really something that, I know our members currently are valuing a lot, and that I hope we can grow. And yeah, I think together we can create even more business for everyone. So definitely, yeah, collaboration is key. And I think, I mean, so I'm trying to, solve the challenges by making the value chain more accessible.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Dr. Raskasovskaya, thank you very much for the great job that you're doing. Tell us what's next.
Oh, well, you know my full last name.
I hardly.
Thank you very much, Jose. Well, now we had a great opportunity to see and also to talk with some of the partners in the European soil. And I would like to jump across the pond, because we also hope and aim to join the entire world. Hence, it's a global advanced manufacturing alliance. And not only, let's now think a little bit broader than just micro optics, than just nano optics, and look at the things, zoom out and look at the bigger scale. And specifically for this point of view, we actually invited on the committee Darren Burns, the CTO of IDEX Optical Technologies, to join us, because his perspective is far away from the micro optics and nano optics, but still is advanced manufacturing. And through this, we hope to really make this environment even more complete. Darren, please, the floor and attention of everyone is yours. Please introduce yourself, your activities, and also what's your vision and what's your special touch on the purposes and the scope of this alliance.
Yeah, thank you, Olga, and thanks for being part of this discussion, or allowing me to be part of this discussion today. Perhaps if Tanya could share the slides.
Will do.
Okay, wonderful.
You can start by introducing yourself, Darren. For that, we don't need a
Sure,
slide.
no problem. So I've been in the industry about 30 years, and have kind of touched a lot of different markets. Started my career in aerospace, ended up moving into biotech, from biotech into telecom, and telecom to semiconductor, and then back to kind of all of photonics. So it's been nice to see the evolution of technologies and markets around photonics in general. It's been helpful. I'm not sure I see the slides. Do we have slides?
Yes, the slides are up.
Oh, okay.
Just, Darren, just tell when we need to go to the next slide. I'm afraid. Yes, we had a technical problem. So,
okay, we're back.
You're back. All right.
Yeah. Fantastic. So I represent IDEX, and the reason IDEX exists is really to bring a bunch of different industries and technologies together, and to enable the rapid advance of technology into the various markets that we serve. So fairly big company. We're on the S&P 500. We're segmented into 3 sectors, and for the sectors that are interested in photonics, it's really this group in the middle called Health and Science Technologies. Recent acquisitions to IDEX include some optical filters companies, along with material science companies. So if you switch to the next slide. So who am I? I mentioned this. I've been in the industry about 30 years in a bunch of different industries. It's a picture from beautiful Colorado, which is where I live. We'll go on to the next slide. Because I think this is really the important thing, and what we're looking for and hope to bring to the Alliance itself. And that is really that all the way from macro size things down to micro and nano size optics, there's a place for everything in all of these different markets. And we participate across that full spectrum. So a couple things. We kind of look at optics and photonics as being the future vision is moving towards more advanced materials, because in many cases, it's a combination not just of optical optimization, but mechanical optimization as well. Usually there's a multifunction aspect. So light plus energy plus mass transport typically is required. And it could be as simple as even on the nano optics scale, or let's talk about nanostructured coatings. Those coatings still have to survive certain environments, right? So they have to be chemically capable of maybe being up against fluid flows in high energy environments. They might have to be able to be environmentally stable, et cetera. And so all those things are typically important when put into an application space. And then also, as we've all seen, and as many of the folks so far have talked about, there's a whole bunch of unique geometries that are put in play. And this sort of picture up at the top of the slide is a freeform optic idea, right, that has an optical coating on it as a reflector, but also a porous metal heat transfer plate underneath it, right? So a world where maybe you're depositing hundreds of kilowatts of energy into a surface, and that surface has to transport the heat away, but also direct the light in a way that you're controlling the wavefront at a very accurate level. So think about high energy, long distances, free space transport of energy and electronics, or sorry, of energy and mass, and then moving to a sensor package that's at a micro level, where you're collecting a bunch of light through fiber arrays, or you're transporting light from, say, a photodiode array out to the world. And one example of that I would give is inter-satellite links, right? So we talk about the evolution of telecom. Well, telecom is rapidly becoming at least added to through the space, through space systems and space-based satellite systems. Those satellites all talk to each other with laser beams and transport data across free space. So now you've got a whole system, if you put it all together, of fiber optic systems communicating to RF systems, which then transport energy to satellites, which then communicate with each other across free space with laser light, and then collect that light again, and then bring it all back down to a package. So all in all, that means a lot of different cooperation across a lot of different technologies to bring many of these really big ideas to the table. And so shift to the next slide. I think the takeaway here is that we get faster, better solutions by leveraging the larger, and I say here, international community. That's really important. And speaking as a US company, I would like to see, first of all, what many of the other folks have said, how do we get people talking together about technology? Because many times a small company has a hard time scaling. And a larger company can do that with extensive capital, but we have to do it together. So things moving from just ideas and prototypes to full production, so that we can enable something like a large satellite array that forms a communication network. And then the other part of this is affecting policy. So as many folks in Europe and across the world have seen, the US and many of the other large players, China as well, are sort of battling over intellectual property and control of technology across borders. And I think it's really up to this, to this community and the larger photonics community in general to come together to really make some clear statements about what policy can look like internationally so that we can bring these solutions together, and so that we're not all walled off as individual continents or countries, because even within Europe, we see the same thing, right? Where countries in Europe are starting to wall themselves off from other countries. And it would be nice if that were not the case. So I'm not sure there's a silver bullet there, but it's definitely something that we should all strive for.
Thank you, Darren. If I may ask, when you look from your perspective, we already have heard from the injection molded, stacked integrated optics, also pilot line for micro optics. Which companies, or let's say which industries, or how would I say technologies? Let's look generally technologies. Which technologies would you like to add to the alliance, and that you believe that absolutely belong there? Darren?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's finding a way to take nanostructures and implement them within micro and macro optical systems is a crux type problem. And I'll give you an example of that. There are a lot of optical surfaces that have to handle. Let's take something that has to handle a fairly high power and be exposed to an environment that's not hermetically sealed, and it's not highly controlled, right? It's very difficult to use, say, a nanostructured polarization coating or an anti-reflection coating, which may give you exceptional optical performance across wide angles and wide wavelengths. But boy, if it has to sit in an environment that's not perfect and has to be cleanable, that's a problem today, right? And so there's no real way to do that. So I see there's sort of these two worlds of the controlled nano wafer level, everything's packaged and controlled, where we can get that performance. And then there's the other world of bigger, dirtier, interacting with the real world, that is having a hard time utilizing some of that technology. And so how do we bridge the gap between those two? Because just like the examples I showed, most of the systems that are being put into practice either in the biotech world or the telecom world, or even industrial laser manufacturing is a great example. It's all of it, right? You ideally have a sensor package which is really well controlled, but then you're moving out into the outside world, and the outside world is messy and dirty, and you have to be able to combine all of those technologies in a way that works.
Thank you. Jose, do we have a question from questions from the auditorium?
What do you think? What do you think? So first of all, I would like to say that all of us know a company from Japan, a city in Japan called Hamamatsu. But not all of us knew that Hamamatsu is also a pilot line. So I wanted to ask Andre, first of all, what is this Hamamatsu pilot line? And second, how can the community, us, all of us, the photonic supply chain, can help supporting this new pilot line? Andre, tell us.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Olga, for introduction. I'm with Hamamatsu right now, starting from December, and we are providing new service pilot line. So if you have in mind any concept of a photonic module, we can help you with engineering of this module and bringing you a complete solution. So we'll take Hamamatsu components and the other components, put them together with electronics, and we'll give you a market-ready solution. And we are trying to make it really rapid, so it's fast prototyping. And please reach out to me if you have this type of products. If you want to develop a new spectroscopic system for breath analysis, food industry, or whatever, Hamamatsu components are here for you. And speaking about alliance, this is very good question, Jose. And what I need a reliable supply chain, because I'm struggling with two things. I have to do rapid prototyping, and I have to rely on long-term on a supply chain. It should be a long-term solution. So I need a long-term relationship and rapid prototyping at the same time. And having good partners, having this supply chain is the most critical thing for me and what I want from the Global Manufacturing Alliance.
Andre, you're a good guy, and I love to put on the spot the good guys. Could you please tell me one thing that you would be really happy with finding today in this meeting on this challenge in the supply chain? What are you short of, or especially from European suppliers?
I think that we all have a problem. We are struggling to, not struggling. So our goal is to grow our markets, our businesses, and we all have to go to the end customers, end users of our technologies. And what I want to find here and now at this meeting, and I already spoke with some people in the chat, how we put together our components with your applications, because we have nice components. As for example, Icon Photonics has amazing coupling technology, and then we just couple it with several of our components, and we have a market-ready solution. So I want to brainstorm and chat with some of you how we put together our components to deliver value to our end users, to our customers.
Thank you very much, Andre. And please remind Akira-san that we want him to be one of our keynote speakers in Malaga. So please remind him of that. Thank you very much on this. And allow me to go to one company that not all of you know, and that we are really big fan of in Optica. The company is Intego, and they provide inspection systems. We go a little bit higher up in the supply chain to go to Intego to ask them what they do, but most important, what can we do for them and what they expect this alliance to help them with. Please tell us how you can benefit from this alliance, Alexander.
Hi, and welcome everyone. So Intego, we are, as you said, a special machine builder for optical inspection systems, for customized inspection system to be special. So it is, we don't sell products in the very sense that you can buy them just off the shelf, but we really tailor those machines to the needs, and that ranges basically from different industries. We're coming from solar and fuel cells industries over automotive, and also now in semiconductor market very strong, and in the optics industries, medical optics or optics for sensors. And what we build are machines and for the inline quality control. So really like special machines that are integrated into robot cells, transport bands, or so on. And it can be standalone systems as well. And the special thing is really that we build them in terms of hardware, in terms of software, right, as the customer needs it. And for us, we have quite a broad range of customers also based in Europe, also in the US and in Asia. And I'm pretty eager to learn also in that alliance here to see whether there are new challenges in the production of optical components that we might helping there with.
We are all very amazed on how fast you are developing Intego. Could you share with us one challenge, just one, that we could all help you with? So I can actually put it, in my list of things I learned today.
Yeah, so for us, it's really, we work in both ways. So what we do is also we sell machines with the knowledge and with technology, camera systems and so on that we know already, but we are also always eager to learn about new sensor technology, maybe to integrate into our systems to help the customer really solve problems that have been unsolved so far. So that's something that we also see that people can approach us if they have new sensor technology, for instance, be it universities or also small companies that they like to be integrated in, and that's where we might help also with our systems.
Oh, wow, we have a lot of new sensor technology here in the room, so we expect lots of challenges and lots of connections after this. Olga, just one more and I give you back the floor. Okay, I want to go to Belgium. I love chocolate. I want to go to Belgium. I want to talk to Jonas van der Walle. Jonas, I would want to hear a bit of the software perspective. You provide software design solutions for flat optics. So please tell us how this supply chain, how this alliance can help your business.
Yeah, so I will be a bit bold and rephrase your question as well, Jose. So we heard several questions from people here talking about that there needs to be more advanced and faster prototyping, but at an affordable cost, so to speak. But it needs to happen at scale as well. One of the key reasons and key things we've seen that works really well, like in the PIC market, is process design kits. With Planopsim, we already have a platform and an active PDK for a specific fabricator, but we are discussing with more currently to have more of these PDKs, so process design kits with design rules, where the fabricator guarantees a specific optical outcome. And we would, of course, welcome many, many more, as this will expand your reach as a company. And for us, it's an opportunity to have multiple different fabrication technologies on our platform and in our software.
Jonas, this is extremely interesting. So PDKs are normally linked to foundries.
Yes.
In this case, you are linking PDKs to almost any optic manufacturer that can specify an optical design. Is there any particular optics you're thinking only about meta surfaces, or you want to go beyond that?
For us, currently, we are, of course, hyper-focused on flat optics or meta optics currently. But of course, our technical team, they're extremely curious, so I cannot stop them in a sense to discuss that type of stuff as well. So if you have doubts, we can take a look for sure. In itself, the PDK is now set up for meta optics, but it could be done for other things as well, of course, in many ways.
Jonas, I think the next member of the committee is going to be really excited working with you in this. I had that gut feeling. Olga, let's continue. I'm enjoying this so much.
I have this gut feeling as well, and I would like to introduce our next committee member and again jump back from the pond. Now we're not in US and we're not strictly speaking even in European Union. So I would like to really bring to the floor the perspective and also the opinion of a very special member of the committee, Peter Kierkegaard from IMT Microtechnologies from Switzerland. Big place in my heart and for Switzerland and for IMT. Peter, please share your ideas and also thoughts on what this alliance can bring to such a special player as Switzerland and IMT.
Well, that was an introduction that I can't fulfill the expectations, so I'm just going to leave. Everybody's seeing my screen, I hope. First, a little bit about myself, as those who have been watching the online photos of us will have asked, what's that old geezer doing here? I'm model 1963, originally Danish. I've been living in Switzerland for 25 years. Stations in Germany. I have a past working for Zeiss. I was in Australia for a couple of years, in Singapore for a couple of years, and since 1999, I've been here at IMT, where we've taken and I'm going to address some of the topics that have been touched on, where we have taken a small prototype manufacturer using slightly outdated technology and turned that into a wafer fab. We didn't turn it into a wafer fab because we were especially keen on the technology. We turned it into a wafer fab out of necessity. Here in Switzerland, I have been the initiator and co-founder of two initiatives. One is the SEMI initiative, which is probably not so relevant for what we're talking about today. What is more important in this context is the Photonics Association under SwissMem, which has done in a small scale what Optica is now working towards doing on a big scale, namely getting a lot of companies together, even if it's now only virtually in one room, where there is an exchange and there is also awareness that competitors are actually listening in. But if we can find a way to work together in spite of that, I'm going to address that in my last slide. First, a little bit about us. We are essentially a wafer fab, but we don't handle silicon. We work with glass. So when we try to explain what we do, we have CMOS processes for non-CMOS compatible materials. We're using a 200 millimeter wafer line to make very, very small quantities if that's required, meaning the fast prototyping, and the very, very large quantities if at some point, hopefully most of our customers will scale. We address several markets. Life science and diagnostics, where we make flow cells and microfluidics components. We use the exact same process line to manufacture components for photonics. And medical applications, everything that you see there is on and in glass, and it goes through the same 200 millimeter line. As I said, we didn't do that out of necessity. We didn't do that because we found it cool. We found that it was the best way It was immense capex to start with, but it has turned out to actually work. And we can only do that because we're doing what Jose is doing. Namely, we talk to as many people as we can. And in some cases, we have to end the cooperation or end the conversation because we can't offer a solution. But in many cases, we can. So that was a little bit about me. That was a little bit about the company. And now what I think that what we should do as an alliance, the key word is alliance. And what I think that we should do, we need to increase awareness, the public, about what it is actually photonics is doing and why. There are a lot of companies out there that use photonic applications. They do not even realize it. You go to your automated coffee machine, you'll find at least 3 photonic solutions inside of it. You talk to the coffee machine maker, he will say, I make coffee machines. No, he is a user of a high-end photonic application. What I want us to do as well, increase cooperation. We are a very fragmented industry, as the slides that we saw in the beginning. There were so many logos on there that I got dizzy. But we still need to speak with one voice. We need to increase the knowledge. So we need to get the market intelligence that is already being offered by Optica. We need to use that more. Why? Not just for ourselves, but also for the people that we are looking to perhaps finance the next step in company growth. We have several SMEs as members and listeners today. When you go out and try to sell yourselves to investors and you say we're a photonic company, several of the private equity companies that you would be talking to will understand company, but you need to explain to them what photonics is. We need to offer information package that, or relevant information that you can use for this purpose. And I want us to do what we're doing today. We need to increase the interaction. We have to make sure, or we have to be aware that we can't be all things to all people. We can't be a walking, talking catalog of Photonics Wests. That's not on. But what we can do, we can provide a forum where more interaction is taking place. We have to be aware that there will be perhaps even competitors, but that we just have to deal with. And us as a committee, we have to offer our members, the optical community, and the members of Optica, we need to give you a benefit in order for you to stay members. So we have to come up with a fast kill relatively soon to show you that this actually works. And in one word, partnership. With the difficulties that arise from plethora of applications, plethora of technologies, we are still, as you also read on the slide, we need to make sure that why photonics matter, that message is conveyed. We still have 75 years to go in the century of the photon. Let's make the best of it.
Thank you, Peter. I removed the microphone because I was laughing at some of the commentaries. I have a question, and it's a very sensitive question, Peter, because you've mentioned already about competition, and I think it's an important question to mention. Also, other people, also other members from the committee and generally from the community mentioned it. How do we deal with the fact there potentially will be quite a few companies that are offering similar services in the alliance? What is your vision for this?
Well, we don't need to do anything. This is a marketplace, and what we are a platform that exists in a marketplace. And there's hopefully competitors out there, because if there are no competitors, then you are probably on the wrong track. And if there is a competitor, you can convey to your potential customer that there is an alternative, or there is a backup, or there is a second source. All of these things are normal questions. If there's only one of us, it's a bad sign.
Do you think it's competition is also will basically provide the resilience for the supply chain? Because as you mentioned, if there is not one supplier, but several, you can potentially connect with many people and be sure that the end product will be delivered and produced and delivered.
But is that a question, or are you just stating?
It's a question. It's rather a question. Do we align in this thought that competition is also something that benefits all of us, because first of all you get the best offer, and second of all it's safety of the supply chain?
Yes to both.
Thank you. That's the answer that I wanted to hear. Do we have questions for Peter? Jose.
All the way from beautiful Jenna. Mark Dining has a question.
Mark?
From Jenna.
Mark, connect.
Mark is on mute. He's still on mute. He's smiling. He's trying to unmute.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
So you have a question that you wrote in the chat. Yes, please.
I did, and it's more of a general question. So we've been talking about the different aspects of the solution. So we've got coatings and optical fabrication and testing and maybe some integration. I'm curious how we can keep the voice of the customer involved in this alliance, whether it be the hyperscalers or LiDAR or biophotonics, so that we know the solutions that we're developing have value and have a market.
Can I take that, Mark? The needs of the demands or the specifications of our customers will need to be brought into this alliance by somebody like yourself. Once you have filtered it, and once you have decided, that it's valid, then you bring it in. You are, so to speak, you're the gatekeeper, because you will receive inquiries where you say, well, you can't use the alliance to, or you shouldn't use the alliance to, here's a question that I have no idea about. I don't have an answer to this, but who can please help me? This is not, well, it is also a support group, but it should be the other way around, that you actually have a specific question, or at least an 80% stated specific question, and then you bring it into the alliance. Otherwise, we'll end up being a self-help group for people that are lost in the woods.
Yeah, I understand and appreciate that. Jenoptik is fairly far upstream in the value chain, so I only understand what my direct customer is asking for, but I know there are multiple links to the ultimate consumer. That was the point I was trying to make.
Thank you very much, Mark. And the last presentation, the last comment today, you will see exactly what plans we have on that. But before that, we have gone to many of our friends today. There's one more. Okay, just one more. The last one, please. I want to go to France. I want to meet Jorge from HEF. Jorge, you have been supporting all this for the last 2 years. Please tell us how you think this alliance can help a large enterprise like HEF.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to everyone here. It's more than delighted, more than happy to meet you once again. Just a couple of words from our side. I think this type of alliances could help us to understand from the top level the end users' requirements. And one of our specific added value, from my understanding, should be to translate which are their challenges into technical perhaps languages, industrial capability ones, in order to propose the best optimized solution, not only from the point of view, in my opinion, of pure technical feasibility, but also in terms of optimizing process, which is the best process. This is different. In industry, it's quite different. I know I can do it, and I can't reproduce it. This is quite different. So this type of translation from what I need towards what technologies, what capabilities I could add to propose your best added value, I think is a good differential point of view. This alliance could help us on both sides.
I fully 100% agree on that, Jorge. An alliance is not only good for what it does, but also good for what it knows. Based on that, and after the meeting in Neuchâtel, Olga and I started discussing with Thematis. And we have hired Tematis for us to have an understanding of the key opportunities and challenges. The last member of the committee, Olga, allow me to do this. I want to introduce the last member of the committee, last but definitely not least, the CEO, general partner of Tematis, my good friend Benoit Dumiers. Thank you very much for being with us today. Tell us what's gonna happen. We are just discussing the plans, but tell us what's gonna happen in regards to this collaboration between Tematis, Optica, and the Global Advanced Manufacturing Alliance.
Thank you very much, Jose, and thank you very much for that very kind introduction. Maybe I can share also my own slides. If it can. Okay. So I'm gonna answer your question, Jose. Like the others, I'm gonna introduce very quickly myself and our company, because and see that maybe we can also contribute as a service company to the alliance. And once again, thank you indeed for inviting me in that committee. I have a physics and instrumentation background from the SPCI in Paris, and for 30, after some few years of research, for now 30 years, I've been involved in innovation consultancy dedicated to the industry. But since 2010, with my associate Thierry Robin and Jacques Cossard, we have founded Tematis, focus only on photonics and quantum technologies. And what does Tematis? We are 7 people, a very tiny company, but with clients everywhere in the photonics world, with of any size, from international group to SME startups, and also research organizations. And also we provide to cluster associations some statistics about the photonic industry in France, in Germany, for Europe, about investment in photonics. And we try to have an overview of the photonic industry, which is, but this is only one part of activity. Our main activity is really to be the bridge between photonics technology providers and application markets, application users and integrators, with 2 main activities. One is really to help transform photonic technologies into businesses. So of course it can be from a new patent that has been applied in a university or in a lab, or a new idea or diversification product from a company, or also some strategy about a product line in a company, and see where are the applications, where are new applications, if a product can be adjusted to address a new market, and what else. And we have also some mainly big companies from the application side. So it can be medical, automotive, space, telecom, who ask us to source photonic technologies that will solve a problem, help to improve the productivity of a process, or any kind of this. And the last thing of our activity is to make reports. Some of our reports are available on Optica, extranet. Some of the last one on metamaterial, metasurfaces, which deals directly on the manufacturing alliance. And we have invested a lot also on the laser markets. And for your information, a new one on the global market of lasers will be released next week. And it was done in cooperation with our colleague Yol. So let's focus on this islands. So for us, what is really the main trend? Of course, all of this, you know it very well, you live it, it's part of your life. The big thing, of course, is miniaturization of photonics. Even if the regular photonics industry is still ongoing, so big instruments, telescopes, the regular photonics, big cameras and what else are still a market. But of course, and you are part of it, all of you, the photonics is miniaturizing, is more and more miniaturized, and there is, well, you have to develop new technologies, new processes, and you, of course, cannot develop things the same way when it's at a micron size or if it's at a centimeter size, I would say. So the thing is, well, there is a kind of race, technology race that has been started between companies everywhere in Europe, in the US, in Japan, Korea, China, but everywhere. What is important is that what we see, and this is one of the wonders of these islands or association like Optica, is that we don't foresee any frontier when we work together. Even if right now we have to take into account that countries may have some different views about frontiers and also strategic autonomy. The other thing also in that field of micro optics or microphotonics is that you have a lot of SMEs, a lot of startups. Technologies are developed every day. New companies are getting out of labs every day. So there are a lot of tiny or SMEs companies. And what is important for me is that it is where, in my opinion, new ideas come from. It is something that everybody knows, but it's particularly true in that field. What is also very important is that companies from the application side, I gave some example like Cisco in telecom or Merck, who acquired some photonic companies, and you have also those big companies from the IT world who are developing devices fully made of microphotonics or micro optics or components. Of course, all the AR, VR market is maybe the more obvious example with Meta, Google, but also Essilor, Luxottica. They are coming into the market because they are developing their own device. So there is something that is very at stake there. And of course, there is that trend with public authorities where in each country, this question of strategic autonomy and competitiveness is something more and more important. So, but for us as a community, what is at stake? What is important for us? For me, the question is to catch the value. Because when you see Meta or Google, well, it's very good that they develop new products made of photonics, and they need partners, they need support. But still, the question is, who is going to catch the value? And this is very important for me for the future. We need to build processes and factories. And as you know, it's a hard work, very hard work, long-term work, because those processes don't exist, or you start from things that exist, but you have to adapt them. And as you know, it's never easy to do. And you need money for doing that, because you need big investment. If you want to scale up production, if you want to be able to reach massive production, you really need money for that. And we need also to answer that requirement and request from countries about strategic autonomy. And for us as an industry, it's a question of supply chain and reliable supply chain. So what is my vision regarding the Advanced Manufacturing Alliance? First, if I go back to what I've catched from people, what people have said, here are some sentences or words that I've catched. So partnership, scale product, promote the industry, centralize information, find clients. I've seen also talk to machine suppliers, exchange R&D ideas, build collaborative projects. I've seen also find an ecosystem to discuss with, build standards or common rules, work together, understand requirements from the application side, develop better or faster, develop a larger community, talking about technology, scaling up product, build or help build effective policies, bring solutions together. We need to develop new structures and implement them, new nanostructures and implement them. Be a bridge between, develop bridges between a central package that is clean and the outside world, which is, of course, that can be anything in terms of environment, like temperature, humidity, dust, and anything. What I've seen also, develop modules, fast prototyping, need a reliable supply chain, long-term relationship, increase awareness, speak one voice, increase knowledge and help boards and investors to understand better the industry. I'm almost finished. And translate requirements from users and integrators. And I hope that my own vision is not a kind of a summary of all this. And of course, I apologize if I miss something. In terms of development and technology, to gather stakeholders and to speak together and to increase exchange and cooperation. I think it's one of the main things. And to develop trust, because cooperation is always a matter of trust. If you trust, even if there is competition, and you know, all of you, I guess, know your competitors, and for many of them, you can have a fair competition, and you explain, of course, how you do things, but there is always good thing to exchange, and I fully agree with Peter when he says there's nothing to do regarding competition. Competition is already there without the islands, and it will be still there with the islands. But if a fair discussion, it's very easy to manage that, in fact. Explore future market. I think it's important to understand future trends and future markets. Discuss with integrators and end users, and to be, as I mentioned that also, to be influenced in standard committees. I think unlike microelectronics, photonics is much more diverse, much more complex, much more. So you have so different types of components, equipment, processes, that we will need to build some standards, not everywhere, because if you have too many standards, you kill innovation, but some standards in order to facilitate cooperation. And so in terms of, now if I go to business, develop business together, joint prospection is something I've seen. Yeah, let's put our components together and prospect together to build solution for some clients. This is something I have heard from, I think, for example, Amamatsu Andre. in terms of communication, better define, miniaturize, or integrated photonics. It is something that we will need to know. I've been at Temati, spent a lot of time to try to, how could we define this environment, ecosystem in few words. It is something, it's really one of my wish is to be able to do that, to be inclusive, but also clear. It's a very big challenge for me. It's important also to have that definition and that way of communication in order to explain this strategic game to public authorities. There is a strategic game ongoing in our field, and we need to understand that to public authorities. And in terms of finance, as I say, we need money to develop those companies, those processes, and it's important to be able to be new champions. And so we need public funding, and we need investors. And I put it between passionate investors, because as you know, we have to explain to investors that photonics hardware takes time to develop, but when it is developed, it is very the return on investment is very high, but much more secure than some other businesses. So this is something I have put together for Tematis. Why I'm so happy and really grateful to be there is just to be able to work on that, because for us it's the big trend of the photonic industry. Even if the other will not die, not at all, but this is where the future of photonics lies. And for us, for Tematis, it's very concrete and simple. We would be happy to know all of you better, and maybe that you know us better, in order that when we do our studies, when we need to talk to people who build the future, I mean you, if it will be easier for us to get interviews, to get discussion, to talk about the future, it will be just marvelous for us, because it's become more and more difficult, in fact.
Thank you very much, Benoit. It is great to have you. Look, we have already the access to a large group of companies. We have proved one in the room has shared what they can do for others, what others can do for them. Imagine, for example, that we put 200 answers to that hospital question in ChatGPT and tell them what are the challenges of our industry. That's one thing. But the other one, this industry has to be driven by the customers, by the end users. On the 14th and 15th of May, we are all going to meet in Heidelberg. And in Heidelberg, the discussion there will be driven by end users. I hope to see you there. Thank you very much for a fantastic 90 minutes of your life. Until the next time, this was Dr. Olga Ras, the entire Optica team, and myself, Jose. See you soon.